Yeah, it's slowly starting to become more and more apparent, and it is official. Joe Biden is going off the deep end, man. Obviously, I've been making some stuff regarding Joe recently. Some of his more creepy tactics that he does, just things that come off very weird, very creepy. But on a serious note, this guy is folding under the pressure. He can't handle it. I don't know what the cause is. Speculate all you want, but this guy is folding, and it's not going to be long until this guy has a complete meltdown, in my opinion, and he is completely done. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, most of you have probably already seen this. It's been passed around, Twitter like a hotcake, pretty much. It's being shared all over the place. Okay, so, if you've seen this, it's probably not going to surprise you much, but recently at an event in Iowa, a voter got up to ask Joe some questions, and, a lot of people want to talk about unpresidential or whatever, tried to go after Trump. This guy, in my opinion, he actually raised a fairly, valid point. Now, he didn't argue it the best in the world, as you're going to see in this exchange. I feel like that this voter could have, tried to enforce his point a little bit better to Joe Biden. I feel like he could have stood up for himself, and not just, well, I just saw it on television. That is kind of a weak argument to come back with, just simply say, well, these are the facts. Can you give me proof that they're not true? He could have handled that a little bit better, but whatever. Main thing is here, let's just listen to Joe Biden's response to all this and make note of what he called this man during this back and forth.
We all know Trump has been messing around in the Ukraine over there, holding their foreign aid for them to come up saying they're going to investigate you. We know all about that crap. And he's no backbone, we know that for that. But you, on the other hand, sent your son over there to get a job and work for a gas company that he had no experience with gas or nothing, in order to get access for the president. So you're selling access to the president just like he was. So
you're a damn liar, man. That's not true. And no one has ever said that. No one has proved that.
I see it on the TV.
You see it on the TV.
All I do is watch
no, I know you do. And by the way, that's why I'm not sedentary. I get up and let him go. Let him go. Look, the reason I'm running is because I've been around a long time and I know more than most people know. And I can get things done. That's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape on, let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's take an IQ test, okay? Number one. Number two, no one has said my son has done anything wrong, and I did not on any occasion. And no one has ever said it. Not
I didn't say you were doing anything wrong.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company. Isn't that what you said? Get your words straight, Jack.
That's what I hear on MSNBC.
You don't hear that on MSNBC.
No, I didn't.
You did not hear that at all. What you heard? Look, okay, I'm not going to get in an argument with you, man.
Well, I don't want to either.
Well, yeah, you do. But look, here's the deal.
It looks like you don't have any more backbone than Trump does when you're selling.
Any other questions?
Yeah, all right. I'm not voting for you.
Well, I knew you were, man. You think I thought you'd stand up and vote for me? You're too old to vote for me.
Well. Okay, so Joe. Clearly, you're a little touchy in more way than one, huh? Not only do you like to get a little, grabby with people, brushing little girls' faces like this. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, go check out my video I made the other day. I put a nice little list together as called "Just How Creepy Can Joe Biden Get?" Okay, so go check that one out if you don't know what I'm talking about. all those the first thing in that clip, it shows the Risa, I love kids jumping in my lap thing. And then you're going to see a lot of his interactions with women and children and little kids during swearing into the Senate when he was there. It was like photo ops and all these little kids coming around, and there's this one girl in particular. Of course, he leans down and he sniffs a couple of people, or little girls, but then there's one, this real short little girl, and he's just sitting there with his hands just stroking her face just like this. I mean, if that isn't creepy as hell, I don't know what is. So clearly, not only are you touchy in that regard, you're clearly a little bit touchy when someone asks you on those questions. Now, Joe, I don't know what this man heard on MSNBC, but how are you going to sit there and look that man dead in his face and tell him he didn't hear it on MSNBC? Have you watched every hour of MSNBC, Joe? Because it seems to me like you can barely stay upright during these debates. You literally remind me of that old Droopy dog cartoon. Matter of fact, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a picture of that dog up on this video so you can see it for yourself. And then I want you to compare the way that dog looks to Joe Biden during his last couple of debates where he's just throughout the whole thing. Okay, Joe, so I think that we're all starting to realize more and more that article that came out a while back, a report that said that Obama told you, Joe, you don't have to do this. Yeah, that's true. He didn't want the embarrassment, not so much for you, but the embarrassment of him that you were his VP. You're going to be linked to him, and you're going to get out here and make a damn fool of yourself. Okay? But, Joe, are we just supposed to take your word for it that nothing wrong went on with that whole Ukrainian, deal? There's obviously something fishy about what went on there with your son. You said, at an event that you told the guy if you didn't fire this prosecutor, you weren't getting, loan guarantee or whatever in exchange. And of course, the prosecutor was going to look into a case that involved, the business that your son had gotten a job at. I mean, I'll play devil's advocate for you for just a moment here, Joe. Even if he's as innocent as you claim and there's nothing wrong that went on, can you really honestly sit there with a straight face and say that this doesn't look suspicious as all hell? Of course it does. It looks very, very suspicious, Joe. Extremely suspicious. And the fact that he responded in the way that he did, you're a liar. Okay? Yeah, that's wow, that's really a class act there, Joe. I'm sure you have a lot of proof to back that up. You're going to just call him a liar, and you tell him what he didn't hear on MSNBC, And then there's two other things at the end. Did you notice he called the guy fat? He said, hey, look, fat. Wow. Okay. And last I checked, that there's a lot of factions within the Democratic Party and farther on the left wing that want more political correctness, don't want fat shaming. Joe, you sure are being a good representation of those voters, huh? That you just literally fat shamed a voter in Iowa. Wow. Okay. A plus, Joe. Keep up the good work, man. But then there's just one final thing that I want to elaborate on. Now, unless there was something said previous to this that we haven't seen yet, I didn't hear this guy at any point in time mention anything, and maybe I just didn't hear it or whatever. If any of you know something that I don't, drop some comments below. I didn't hear this guy say one word about Joe Biden's fitness. I didn't hear him say a word about that. I didn't hear him say a word about, how was his workout routine. None of that. And so after they kind of get into their little disagreement, Joe Biden then takes to basically giving him a fitness challenge. You want to see where I am? Get down here and do some push-ups with me, man. Let's take an IQ test. So, okay, what are the implications from that? You later on went on to call this guy fat. So what you're trying to say is that you're in better shape than him, so you'd whip him in a workout contest. And then let's take an IQ test. In other words, you're stupid, and I'm going to prove I'm smarter than you on that IQ test. That hits a little close for me. I'm not going to go into a lot of details. It's a very, very personal situation in my personal life. But there are people connected to me who have a mentality when they for some reason go out of their way to make an argument out of nothing. Okay, literally the old cliche, they'd argue with a brick wall, is very, very true for this person in particular. Okay, and pretty much anytime they get into an argument and get pissed, get real pissy, and they can't win the argument and just make you shut up because they're determined that they have to be right no matter how wrong they may be about whatever it is. And when I say starting an argument, I mean it could be anything, no matter how stupid. We're not even talking serious subjects. And they will take it to this degree. And it could be something that you do for a job. They've never done one day in their life, but they'd argue with you about it, right? And when they can't win, and I've not only seen it with this person, I've seen it out of a lot of people. It comes from someone who has a massive ego and always has to be right, and this is their last resort. This and a form of blackmail is always their last resort to try and get the win over on you, so they can then look at you and say, hey, this is what happens when you mess with me. This is why you don't cross me, because I'm right, and if you do, this is what's going to happen to you. They turn to what they're capable of doing and start trying to boast and brag about it to your face and tell you, oh, you think you're somebody? You think such? How about you come down, challenge me at this? How about you come do this? You want to throw a game of darts? I'll beat you in a game of darts. You want to have a pool match? I'll whip your ass in a pool match. You can't hang sheetrock. Okay, what does that have to do with the price of rice in China? That's the same thing Joe Biden's doing to this guy right here. You can't win an argument on fact alone, so you then turn to try and demean this person through what you're capable of doing because you think or know that the other person either can't or probably can't do those things. So because you can't win the argument, you can't out-argue them, you can't use facts to outwit them, you then turn to try to shame that person by listing off all these things you can do and how badly you would embarrass them at doing it. Meanwhile, how does that pertain to the original topic one freaking bit? The answer is it does not. And anyone who takes a tactic like that and wants to brag about all the stuff they can do physically or whatever as a way of trying to win an argument when they can't use facts to back up the case they were originally arguing for, they gravitate to something like that. I have no respect for a person like that because I've dealt with that too much in my personal life. And from dealing with it, I can tell you right now, someone that has that sort of attitude is mentally one big child. Very big childish personality, throws plenty of temper tantrums. And someone like that, most definitely, people could say this about Trump as well, but I'm going to say this for Joe Biden. That sort of mentality has no business being the president of the United States if that's your mentality and that's how you want to respond to people. And further evidence that this is where Joe Biden's attitude has gone and that I say he's going to fall off the deep end. About a little over a week ago or something, he was in South Carolina, and there was an activist that got up in the middle of his, rally, started trying to call him out on, immigration and the amount of deportations and this and that. And of course, and Joe Biden's response to that was, oh, well, then you just need to go vote for Trump then. Yeah, go ahead and go. In other words, basically, yeah, you think I'm so bad? Okay, fine. Go vote for Trump. See what you get out of him. Just go vote for Trump. He's not handling this very professional at all. And I get everybody's going to say, well, Trump. Yeah, but this is a guy that's claiming he's a better option than Trump. So if he's not better on the attitude-wise, if he's not better on the maturity-wise, well, I can tell you right now, he's not going to be, better he's going to be like Hillary Clinton on policy. And to me, Trump was slightly better than Hillary Clinton on some policy issues. Again, that was what he campaigned on. He hasn't fulfilled half those things that he was better than Hillary Clinton on. But Joe Biden's not even going to try. Joe Biden's going to be that typical corporate politician doing the same old crap. Okay? And so, this, in the words of JFK, I wouldn't put this silly in charge of a cat house. Pure and simple. I wouldn't. Joe is going to implode, in my opinion. If he makes it all the way to the nomination by some miracle and gets the nomination by some miracle, Donald Trump is going to wipe the floor with this guy. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly, especially if things like this continue.